Happy Friday, boys and girls. It's Miss Padano, and I'm here for our morning meeting. So good morning, happy Friday, and I hope you're ready for your long Memorial Day weekend, and you have a chance to later watch some of the videos that talk about Memorial Day, and to make sure you don't forget about our military. Okay, so let's take a look at today. Just gonna move my table up a little bit here. And we can clearly see that today is Friday, May 22nd. Let's say it together. Friday, May 22nd. One more time. Friday, May 22nd. And we have two activities like we usually do for the day. And I'm going to move this so we can actually see. I have a little fan coming on. I'll take this one here. And today we're going to do two blending practices. And we're going to blend all of the sounds together to form the actual word. And when we look here, we have some pictures. We have a cab. It says taxi, but it's a cab that you ride in. We have a cat. They're pointing to the top of his cap. Okay. And then we have here a bed, a top, and a pop. Okay. So why don't we start off here with the cab. The first thing we're going to do is put our name on top of the paper. Now you can color these in after you do them, okay? Now this only has 3 letters, okay? So when I initially looked at it, it looks like a cart, but I'm gonna call it a little bed, okay? And we know that's the top. And that's showing, which can be confusing, that's showing something that pops. But we don't have another space here to put pops. So we're just going to say pop because we saw the balloon pop. So we have to look at the lines to help us, because if not, sometimes the pictures are a little confusing. So they're not all going to begin with the letter C. They're going to begin with something different. Now, if you wanted to look at this, you could also say it's a hat, but I like to call it a cap because it has a little brim on the top here. But either one would be fine. I'm going to call it a cap, but if you did put a hat, that's fine. Because again, H-A-T-C-A-P. It's all going to work out for us, okay? So this one's done for us here. So we're just going to go along. You're going to use your pencil and just trace. You only have to do that one time. And it says k-ab. Now I know that C makes the 2 sounds. It makes that soft C sound like s, circle, and it also makes that hard C sound, okay? So let's look at our next picture. So again, we're going across from left to right in our rows, and you're so smart. So the next picture is a cat. Now some of you might want to write the letter K because it does have that sound similar to C. But we know cat is going to begin with the letter C. So I'm just going to write that there. Now, just like we hear the A sound in k-ab, we hear it in k-at. So we already know the short A sound. And if we didn't know, we could go back and look at the picture that came before, the previous picture. And again, on Starfall, I'm going to do a mini lesson to review this and kind of go over the sounds that we're hearing in these words. And we're going to have a chance to do the same activity here, but on the computer. And we'll do that next week. Okay? Now, the ending sound we hear is t. So the ending sound's different than in cab. It's cat. It's a T sound. So you really have to listen to that sound. Kind of at a curve here in my chair, so it's hard for me to write. So cat, good. Now we hear the same sound in what we're talking about here, which is a cap. Okay? If some of you did this already and you put hat instead, that's fine. It would be H-A-T. Again, I hear that short A sound. Puh. Now, the only thing that's changing is the ending sound. Cap. I hear that P, just like in the beginning sound, pop. And there we go. And again, if you're writing it large, that's fine. I'm just trying to follow it below the dots and we write our lowercase letters. Now let's go to our second row, starting on the left. Again, this looks just like a cart, but we wouldn't have enough lines. So I'm calling it a little bed. Just like you see when you go to the nurse's office, she has a place for you to sit down, to lie down if you're not feeling good. So, it's a little B. I hear that B sound. Just like in the end of cab, I then hear it here. Okay? Eh. D. Good. The next one we see is a T, top. T, top, T. I'm going to hear that O sound. It's almost like R controlled. It's the O. And then I clearly see the top, top. And here again, it's confusing because some of you might say, oh, that's a balloon, but there's not enough letters here for that. Or, oh, it's popping. It is. It popped. But we're going to say pop. I hear that P sound again. And that O sound. And then that P sound again. Now, the next thing I want to do is one of these words here doesn't have the same vowel sound as the others. So if we look in cab, okay, there's a short A. In cat, there's a short A. In cap, there's a short A. In pop, there's a short O. In top, there's a short O. And here, there's a short E. Okay? And the directions, again, just going over them again, point to the picture like we did, say its name, and then write it on the lines. And you did a great job. Now, the next thing is if you wanted to go back in, you could color each of the pictures because they are a little bit smaller. We can color them in. So usually, sometimes taxis are yellow. There we go. And again, don't worry if you did put hat here. So if someone did do that, that's fine. Again, sometimes the pictures are a little confusing. We're going to put cap, but if someone did put hat, we might have some friends that did that. And the cat, I'm going to color the cat in with some yellow stripes here, maybe a little bit. I don't have my other crayon, so I'm just going to give my cat some stripes. And for my cap, I'm going to color again blue, so I'll do like an AB pattern. Again, these spaces are really small, so I'll do the brim or the here blue, and then I'll leave that white, and then another blue section. If you want to color in his shirt too, you can. You can leave the face white, so you can color in the actual picture. I'm going to leave this its color, and the top I'm going to do a little bit of a red and white. I'll leave it white, so almost like an AB pattern again. So we have the red, like Dr. Seuss, red, white, red. And then here, I'm going to do one balloon red, the one that popped, and the other can be blue. So pop and top. There we go. Rhyme. So I'm going to put a little check mark here. Pop and top. We're just changing that first letter. Cap and cat do not rhyme, right? So these two sound alike. Now, if you did write the word hat and cat, those two would sound alike. So boys and girls, that's our first activity for the day. We're not going to do anything on the back. If you wanted to, you can do the other activity in the afternoon. And that one is not really going to require any coloring because it's so small. And you're going to do the same thing. It's blending. This is a little bit different because now you're going to use picture clues. Again, we're going to put our name on top. And they already give you a sample. So they already show you that you're going to look at the picture and write the letter that it begins with. So again, we're talking about beginning sounds. So that for the end of the year skills, we've been continuing with beginning letter sounds, our sight words that we're talking about. Also reviewing direction, left and right, all these things, numerals from 15 to 20. So we're working really hard. So the next thing we see is an apple. That's an A. It begins with the letter A. And P for pizza. So when I put those together, I get sap. Now again, some of these are kind of confusing. Some of them could be nonsense words. Some of them make sense. The same thing's here. So I see a snake. I'm going to put an S here because that's what that picture begins with. I see the same apple. And if you notice, all of this column, this particular column, all has the same picture. So I already know that my middle vowel sound is going to be A because I have an apple here in this column, an apple here, an apple here. And then when I go across the row, it's going to make a word. So that's a tiger. Okay. T for tiger. And when I put it together, at, I get sat. And we'll go over these at the end. Now there is room for you to color if you wanted to go in, or you can just leave it plain. This is a ball, so that's B. B. And again, we have that A middle sound, which is the apple. I'm going to simply add that in here. And that looks like a crescent moon, a type of moon, but I'm going to put M for moon. So I put it together. Bam, like Sam, bam, ham, all rhyming sounds. Again, I see that same picture clue, so I already know it's an M. I'm just going to bring it here. And we already said that all the middle vowel sounds are an A. And there's that tiger again. So I'm starting to see some similarities, and I'm starting to see some rhyming words. Okay? Again, I see that moon again. And of course I see the A. And then the pizza. Map. Now, if it was a tiger, again, it would be mapped. Okay? The moon again. So we see a lot of the repetition. And there's that A for apple. Okay, so A, that short A sound, ma'am. Sam. So let's take a look again. We're going to go over this together. S for snake, A for apple, P for pizza. Put it together. Help me. Let's blend it. App. So when we're blending like you do on IXL, I can see that you're blending, but we have to be able to do it on paper. You're taking each of the sounds and you're putting them together and you're sweeping them together. And on that starfall.com activity, you're going to be able to practice that next week with me. Sap. Good. Again, we're putting these sounds together. At. So they're not rhyming, but they do have the same middle sound. Am, bam. Oops, I forgot to write map. See, this is good to always go over your work here. Bam, at, mat, app, map, ma'am, ma'am. So one more time, let's say it together. Sap, sat, am, mat, map, ma'am. So if I want to take a look, we can put a check mark. I know that sat and mat rhyme. They sound alike. Bam and ma'am sound alike, don't they? They rhyme. And sap and map. Make sure you can see that M. Sap and map. So we actually did find all of the rhyming sounds. Now if you want to go back in, there are small pictures. The snakes are kind of too small, but if you wanted to go in and let's say you wanted to color in the apple red, you can go in and color those apples in. And again, you're just going to take your time. You're not going to do anything on the back unless you want to practice some of your blending words. And it's nice to keep these because when you're writing in your journal over the next 2 weeks, you can actually use some of these words if you wanted to write about something. I made a little mistake with that apple, but that's okay. So I'm coloring at an angle. Just go back in. So if you wanted to do that, you could. If not, you can leave it plain. So again, we put a check mark for the matching. So if you wanted to be even more creative, you could say, okay, I'm going to use the red to match up the sap and the map. So those two are a match. I'm going to use the red. And for the sat and the mat, I'm going to use another color. So I chose yellow. And for the bam and for ma'am, I chose another color. So you can actually color code your rhyming words, which is kind of a great idea for you to do. So let's go over it. Whoops, one more time. This is double-sided here, an extra, almost like a folder. So sap and map, sat and mat, bam and ma'am. So boys and girls, for today, Friday, May 22nd, we have 2 blending activities, our blending practice here and our blending practice here. And I just want to tell you that you're doing a great job as usual and that it is Friday. So I want you to have a great weekend. I'm just going to kind of move this over here. I want you to have a great weekend. It's a long weekend. I want you to check out some of the YouTube videos that I talked about. And I want to take a look over here if we could, because I did move my arrows for yesterday, which was actually Thursday, and today, which is Friday, and tomorrow, which is Saturday. And we can take a look at our calendar that we only have one more full week of the month of May. And actually, because we have that extra Memorial Day, you are going to have that extra day. So on Monday, you're not going to have to do your remote learning, okay? So I want you to enjoy your weekend. Have a wonderful Memorial Day, and I will see you again on Tuesday.